Sightseeing, the towns of Panama are hard to beat. Many ancient cultures have merged to create an individual atmosphere that is world-renowned. It's easiest to fly into Panama, and a great many people get their first glimpse of Panama City and Balboa from the air. You just can't help being impressed by the tremendous variety of sights, all jammed into a tiny republic which is just about the size of the state of Maine. It's impressive from the moment you arrive at Tucumán National Airport and get to know the prominent landmarks, such as the building housing the National Assembly and the many examples of modern architecture which are springing up all over the country. The homes are up to date and comfortable. The National Theater has been the scene of much intense comedy and drama. The works of the greatest playwrights have been performed here. Most of the population of Panama is in its cities, and many thriving businesses make their living through working for the Canal Company. Of the nation's 750,000 population, 60% are of mixed Spanish and Indian blood, sometimes called mestizos. But there are many other races which have contributed to the making of a Panamanian. The national lottery plays a big role in the lives of those who hope for a quick change of fortune. Tickets are sold on street corners, and the high spot comes every Sunday morning at 11 o'clock when the winning numbers are drawn. The streets are normally bustling with activity, but from 12 to 2 each afternoon, it's difficult to find a soul. It's siesta time. Panama's Republican government is a half-century old. Once a part of the country of Colombia, the country has been turned by an accident of geography into one of the Western world's most critical defense areas. An independent republic was set up in 1903 when Colombia refused to ratify a treaty permitting the United States to build a canal across the isthmus. The current government is elected and consists of a legislature, a judiciary, and an executive. The presidential palace is a showplace which has had many short-term tenants in this land of low political boiling point. Panama has no official army at her command. A police force numbering about 2,500 maintains watch over the citizenry. The country receives protection from foreign invasion through the Monroe Doctrine and other treaties which guarantee hemispheric aid. The new university near Panama City is an impressive series of structures, all built in the modern vein. Like other countries of Central and South America, Panama has recently awakened to the fact that a higher standard of education is needed if she is to take her place at the council tables of the world. The functional and streamlined look of these university buildings mirrors the forward approach Panama is taking toward the entire subject of education. Courses are part of a cooperative education program between Panama and the United States, and they're designed to ensure a free exchange of democratic ideas. The promises of education have brought a new outlook for many, but there are also old beliefs with great influence. Religion is closely tied to the daily life of most Panamanians. Long processions lead to the churches as the holy days are celebrated with great fervor. The architecture of many places of worship shows the influence of early European settlers. Ruins of the Church of San Domingo recall the exploits of the buccaneer Sir Henry Morgan, who sacked Panama City in 1671, and who carried away much of the treasures which had come over the King's Bridge from Peru for shipment to Spain. Yes, there are plenty of relics of historic Panama which link the people to 15th and 16th century Spain when the conquistadors discovered the isthmus and left their imprint on the land and its people. This monument is to the explorer Balboa, who in the year 1513 became the first European to gaze upon the Western Ocean, which was later called the Pacific. Panama's splendor has many different forms. Scenic beauty is one, and another is at carnival time. Celebrations are held traditionally in the spring as a preface to the Easter season, and they are notable for the intense excitement of the music and dancing. The beat of the bongo drums throbs through the city during the days and far into the night at fiesta time. Nightclubs are another source of entertainment, and the bill of fare is just about the same caliber as one can find in any large city back in the States. But life in Panama is not all play. Though industrial activity is somewhat limited because most natural resources are in the interior and hard to get at, Panamanians are making a big effort to expand manufacturing capacity. This giant cement plant represents one of the initial attempts to expand to a point where the country will become less dependent on imports and able to exist on what they produce. Panama depends on the United States for much of its subsistence. It is important to our government that the Central American republics have a healthy economy and the vigor to resist the plague of communist infiltration in the Western Hemisphere. Workers in the cities are gradually learning to operate the complicated machinery of modern manufacturing plants. But it is not the same story in the interior, as you discover when you leave the concrete highways and push back into the agricultural regions. Bananas are the principal crop and form the backbone of the export trade. The harvesting machine here is a sharp machete. One slash and the fruit is off the tree and taken to be washed. Then it's on its way to be eaten at the tables of the world. The yellow fruit is Panama's top item of her export list. Most of the plantations are financed by American business firms, and the United States is the principal purchaser of each crop. The loading onto refrigerated boats is done by means of specially designed conveyors. But bananas are not the only source of revenue. There's a small gold trade, and some attempt is made to dig out other minerals. One other natural resource is the alligator. The skins of the big reptiles are used in the manufacture of many kinds of articles. Smaller members of the gator family are used in their entirety. After processing is completed, the skin of the young alligator has been transformed into an attractive handbag, which is sold all over the world. Among Panama's many interesting peoples are the Montunos, whose villages are in the interior. They are a shy, industrious, yet friendly group. The men use their machetes for just about everything. Modern ways of life are taking a long time and making themselves evident in the patterns of the montunos. Coffee is another product of importance. The stubby trees cling to the slopes of volcanic peaks which divide the isthmus. The climate of the Cherokee Hills is just right for producing the beans which eventually find their way to the coffee pots around the globe. Even though Panama produces for international consumption, civilization has barely touched an Indian tribe which continues in a primitive way of life on the islands of San Blas. Though citizens of the Panama Republic, the Indians live according to ancient tribal laws and customs.